Welcome back, folks. This time on the desk, I'm still here. It's F. But I'm going to be joined by Hindu Man as we get into our second North American matchup for the day.
And this one is, once again, a really important game for both these two teams. Eager versus Enemy. And both these have a lot to play for here. Eager have the opportunity to close the gap on Envy that just dropped a game today.
Right.
And Enemy, well, Denial just went above them in the standings based off that win they got. So they need to find wins back themselves.
So Eager, theoretically, how far away from the first seed spot are they?
They will be able to close, if they can 2-0 Enemy here, they'll be one behind Envy.
So, this is just so complicated. Why don't we just take a look at the standings real quick? So with that loss, we just saw Envy take one loss to Walrus and the squad on Denial Esports. So Eager right here, if they 2-0 this situation, they'll actually be tied for first place since Envy got one loss. So that'll tie up that first place spot, and it'll be a very interesting. Oh no, you're right.
26 on Envious right now, and at the moment Denial is now 10 and 16 after that game. That's before the update happened today of those last two games playing. So you can see that in the standings, there's 3 games behind for Eager, and Enemy have just slipped into that bottom 7th position alongside Cognitive. Denial have gone up.
Well, in this situation, we're going to take a look at Eager versus Enemy, and Eager's going to fight for their number 1 spot, but to get there, they're going to have to go through Enemy. It's a team really heralded by PainDeViande, and the rest of his team will see how they stack up against the opposition.
Our crew put together just this split. For the most part, PainDeViande has had knowledge of these players for a while, played with some of them, and liked what he saw. So we put them all on a team together. Just the latest addition to this roster, making big waves in the jungle. A lot of people noticing standout play, especially the casters for the most part, but the community really following suit as well.
Yeah, Just has really been making moves here, and honestly, this is a team that they have yet to really be the number 1 team, but a large part of what they do is individually. We see what goes on with sometimes Khaos will just absolutely run a game, and we'll see the same out of Vetium over there in the Hunter role and all across the board. So there's a lot of potential, I feel like, in this team, and it'll be interesting as they go up against Eager, one of the more tenured teams.
You mentioned potential, and at the start of this split, that's what all I saw out of Eager was potential. They needed to find the right sort of chemistry together and build on this mega transition to the team PolarBearMike with them for a full season, and they were looking to try and make this work for themselves. Since the LAN though, the cognitive gaming LAN, things have just looked up and up for this team, and they're almost looking unstoppable right now, which is a tough situation to be in for Enemy.
And this is a team that Eager historically, from the outside looking in, of course, looks very... They seem fueled by confidence, and confidence is everything that they have now in the number 2 spot. I mean, Eager came alongside in the summer split. In the spring split, this team was still in the Challenger Cup.
They 2-0'd Envy. Don't forget that. They 2-0'd Envy. I mean, Envy did just lose today to Denial as well for the split, but with that 2-0, that should really give them a big boost of confidence once more, just to continue this push for the big number 1 spot. If they can make it there, what a great story for Eager.
It'll be interesting. I know we spoke to Lassiz, and they're very adamant about reaching that number 1 spot. He was very, that is our goal. Our goal is to be number 1. I mean, Weekend, on the other hand, he said we're going to be number 1. So it'll be an uphill battle. They have to go through Enemy to get there. And we'll see as game number 1 really starts on and where these teams go, how it's going to wind up. So without further ado, let's get into the picks and bans and see where both of these teams are going to go. And ladies and gentlemen, it's Eager versus Enemy. And Enemy will be your team with the first pick on the left-hand side of your screen.
This game, for the most part, for me, will come down to the 2 junglers, DaretoCare and Adjust.
Really?
Who's going to get what jungle god they want? Which one's going to get the role they want? Will they get the Nijar through? Will they get the Humbats through that we've seen out of Adjust as well? Where are these jungle gods going to go? Obviously, the first few picks will obviously determine how well the team's going to be looking, but I think the junglers are going to be the ones making the biggest impact in this game.
We'll take a look, and one jungle god already taken off of the platter. Cirquet banned out by Team Eager, so no jungler is going to get the opportunity to play the Scorpion Woman. Second ban coming out for Enemy.
And pretty much with bans nowadays, Sun Wukong, Hell, they're pretty much the ones to really look at going for. And there's not really much left on the table then if you do that. Thor is around though, and Thor generally doesn't really get banned out anymore. There's the Sun Wukong. Thor is an option. Khepri also one that is on the rise, and people are starting to realize it now.
Well, the first pick is going to be that Khepri that you were talking about. So PainDeViande most likely. Last match we saw a jungle Khepri. And to be fair, the jungle
worked.
Khepri did rather well. With that said, I think we'll see a little bit more traditional Khepri here in the Guardian role.
Potentially, but it's all about composition and how you make that work for yourself and the team. Incon on that Geb was really supportive, that allowed Weekend to get into those situations. Athena taken away for Eager, probably got to go over to PolarBearMike. However, we have seen plenty of DaretoCare playing this for a multitude of time in the jungle.
Well, I mean, going back a long ways, Athena jungle was not, I mean, who knows who started it, right? But Lassiz on the Athena jungle, when Lassiz was primarily the jungle player, was one of the sort of spotlight god player combinations, and sort of passing the torch down to DaretoCare, who does a similar thing. So Athena, a little bit of ambiguity there for Team Eager. Hoyi and Bastet.
What god's that?
That's Bastet.
Where's she been?
I actually
she
don't
out of town
know.
or something?
She took a vacation.
18% win ratio, 6% pick ratio so far, and Enemy are just going to draft it that early?
I actually like Bastet. It is worth noting how early that Bastet is picked up. Rock going to be selected for Team Eager, who
I mentioned about the junglers though, and if that is going to be in the jungle for them, that's a potential big impact player. But by releasing it so early, it allows Eager to potentially deal with what Bastet brings to the table. Look for picking gods with good mobility to escape, or the burst damage to kill the cats off very, very quickly.
But even still, I mean, Bastet is a character that deals with gods like that very well, and I mean, want nothing to do with DaretoCare's Naja, which has been sort of flavor of the month, so to speak.
Sure. And I'm quite impressed that Eager didn't even look to go for that straight away in the first 3 picks. They wanted to secure the overlooks. Looks like Bellona more than likely for Omega to set him up big. And we're going to see Zapman heading off for his Apollo.
I love Apollo. I think Apollo is just such a strong hunter. Dimmy played him earlier today over on the European side of the things. And, you know, Apollo brings a lot to a team. He can be just as aggressive, and he's fantastically defensive. And at the end of the day, if everything is going the opposite way that you want it to, you could just split push.
Map presence is the big key that Apollo brings to the table, more than any other hunter, because of his ability to rotate around the map. And then he can even force the team into an awkward position of choosing to defend against his split push or be with the rest of the team.
Speaking of flavor of the month, when we were talking about Naja, Zhong in the past 2 weeks have been picked more than the entire split combined. So Zhong had a couple of changes which will just enhance his ability to be more tanky, and with that in mind, Enemy winds up picking 2 tanky gods to finish off their draft.
But notice we're seeing more Zhong come out when they've got a composition to protect the Zhong nowadays. We see the Khepri very good at being able to support and keep Khepri alive, and that's what you're looking for, is potential counter picks. I was going to say the Osiris pick coming out from Enemy here, I like it, not just because they'll throw that in the solo lane, but it also means that they can't give that to Eager. Now, Osiris is pretty good against the Zhong because that tether will reduce the damage that the Recall Demons actually puts out. Right. Nemesis is the most known for dealing with a Zhong.
Yeah, Nemesis is the classic quintessential, the peanut butter to Zhong's jelly, pretty much. I mean, back when Zhong was fresh and new and a lot of teams were picking him, Nemesis was almost always the opposite team's selection, because essentially what Zhong does, he's tanky by default, and then when he unleashes the demons, he just gets all these protections. Nemesis steals those away, so pretty much the go-to jungler for dealing with that. And
wow. This is a super play here. Are they looking for a pick? I thought they were going to wait around the corner there and just hide there for the speed buff to be sniped.
This is the most aggressive. Yeah, just all the way in the enemy jungle.
Let's look at the composition, right? You can invade with this composition every single day of the week.
Exactly, but you can't do so if you're going to walk directly over your opponent's ward. And that's exactly what they do. Eager, thinking a step ahead, they go ahead and ward. But one thing that I want to note about the Nemesis, yes, it's a fantastic counter pick, and we have sort of gone over that. DaretoCare also loves this character. When Eager was first starting and Dare was relatively new to the team, DaretoCare wrote an article for their website about how best to play Nemesis. That's how long DaretoCare has played and enjoyed this Nemesis god. So
it's funny how one buff to a little god can in a way increase the likelihood we'll see another god. Nemesis has been out of the meta for quite a while, as has Zhong. Nemesis hasn't been touched, but Zhong being reintroduced with some extra stats means that we may see some more Nemesis coming out. We were seeing it before Zhong was even played, by the way, this split, but it means that there's more of a prominent chance that we'll see it a little bit more often.
Zhong going to be played by Khaos here in the middle lane, player that's really shown himself to be powerful.
Like I said, junglers is where it's going to come down to for me for the most part. Keep an eye on the Just and DaretoCare the whole game. They're going to have a different sort of game plan this whole game through, though.
So.
Just very aggressive early with Bastet, looking for early picks, put the pressure on the map for his team. Meanwhile, DaretoCare, well, for the most part, he'll be looking for someone overextended or looking to keep farming, get himself to that critical around level 11, level 12, when Nemesis becomes a real danger to the enemy team.
Right, and Nemesis out of DaretoCare, I mean, expect interesting things. Normally, Nemesis is a character that you'll sort of say, we'll see you later on, but note that Dare started with a red pot. So looking to be aggressive or at least present early on.
Well, one of the issues that you can see out of a Nemesis as well is wave clear in the jungle isn't the strongest, very auto-attack focused in the jungle to begin with, only really got slice and dice for the damage, so has to be a bit careful. But with Lassiz in the mid lane here, he's going to have push power to be able to do these rotations and steal away those harpies.
Interesting way to come back into the lane. Lassiz loses about
Lassiz
half
in
of his
trouble
HP.
there.
A little bit more. Just gets aggressed on by DaretoCare, but Eager does, as you mentioned, successfully steal away the opponent's back camps.
It's a little bit of an advantage for now. It's not going to be punished too much, as you can see in the duo lane. Though Apollo Athena will be outpushed because of the wave clear of Khepri being so volatile. The dot damage really impacts it, and one ricochet is quite effective at the early stages.
Left-hand side, we've got the long lane matchup. It's going to be Khepri Ho Yi versus Apollo and Athena. Sort of the new versus the old here.
For the most part, yeah. I mean, the interesting thing about this game, the whole game plan here, is that the reason we can see the advantage for enemy early is just because of pulse power. Oh, nice little use of the taunt more than
fantastic interaction known by PolarBearMike there. The abduct will actually be cancelled if taunted out, and that's going to put Khepri in a bad spot, and Lassiz with the long-range snipe.
I've said it before, but that was just the tip that connected then, picked up the kill. Lassiz was perfectly timed. He knew exactly how long that was because that literally just touched the Scarab's leg.
I mean, that's the snipe. That's the definition. We use that word for that ability in general. That long-range snipe, that's wow. That's Scout Sniper status,
we were discussing that lane for the most part, just to do with how that wave ended up going in favor of Khepri and the Ho Yi. And it's because of the early game in the jungle, Ho Yi's wave clear with a ricochet, he can get a triple bounce potentially on every single camp in the jungle, which sets him up for such strong wave clear, it can really support a team. I expect to see as the season goes on now after that, especially with how Ho Yi's been buffed recently, that most teams on order will want Ho Yi to give them the even wave clear and a faster advantage in the lane, because it supports their mid laner more than anything else as well.
Just gets you into that lane a little bit quicker because of that ability to clear the jungle camps so quickly. And we'll see Khaos make his way back into the mid lane, joined by PainDeViande, who just hit level 5. So Scarab's Blessing online at the moment.
Such a surprise to see that it was Eager that picked up first blood, though, the rotation ability. But talking about rotations again, it's Eager on the aggressive, looking for Osiris, but Adjust is here this time.
Adjust is here as well, but he's going to be taunted out of anything that he can do by PBM. PolarBearMike channeling the ultimate.
This could be a bad situation here for Eager. They're a bit up against it. Lassiz
Remember last time?
Not going to find the snipe this time round, though.
Just barely. It hit the shadow of where Bastet was. If we didn't see the jump out of Adjust right there, he might have fell down as well.
So a little bit of a crazy rotation all the way to the right-hand side there. We saw DaretoCare trying to continue to put the aggression on the map, which is something that you can see sometimes out of Nemesis, but if they don't find anything, they need to focus heavy on farming is the big key. Make sure they don't fall too far behind. The switch on that, though, is that Adjust on this Bastet has been reactive, not proactive just yet, which is a bit of a worry.
Exactly. We mentioned early on how Pain should be fine. How Bastet's the early game. Bastet wants to be proactive. Bastet wants to be making these ganks, but forced into sort of this reactionary game plan because Eager's rotations and individual play seem to be coming up good.
And she's definitely strong in the early game, as you can see by the poke she can put down on people like Lassiz there. But she's got decent scaling on her ability, so she goes...
She's 100% across the board.
Well, that's pretty decent for the most part. But if she goes for Transcendence, then that... Sorry, it's Bastet.
Right.
If he goes for Transcendence Adjust here, then it will allow him to sustain damage and keep up with the damage that some of the others will put out later on. But getting off to a good early start is very important, especially for enemies' composition here, I feel.
Yeah, usually we'll see the Transcendence come third item. Jotun's Wrath will come second, and that allows time for either towers, other objectives, or kills to assist in sort of the bringing the gold up, because Transcendence is such an expensive item.
And such a big, important game, this as well. Let's just take that into account for a second and mention it once more. Both these teams eager to vying to try and take first position here. Enemy are looking to make sure they don't end up in the wrong part of the seeding for the land, because they now just went above them right now after that last game we saw against Envy. And Envy will probably be watching this with bated breath themselves going, oh God, Eager could catch us here.
Maybe. I don't know. That team is pretty confident.
They were. But confidence doesn't always work out, does it?
I don't know. We'll have to take a look here.
We'll find out at land.
Team Eager up top on this one. 1-0 with the first blood for sure. Leading by about 800. Game's all but even.
The way this game's going for now, I'm quite happy with Eager being in this position. They're happy to let this game ride onto around mid-game.
Sure.
And get towards the later stages. Let Nemesis get a bit of farm on. Let Lassiz get some more sustain items if he's going to go for a very supportive build. And just keep this pressure on.
Salt Machine's going to be slowed. Salt Machine's going to be, well, no stun out of there. He'll be relatively fine.
Adjusto making a rotation. Omega could be caught out of position here.
Adjust is here. The channel from Athena will prevent the onslaught, and a good damage reduction provided will keep the members of Eager alive for just another moment.
It was good opportunity there, honestly, for the cats to be dropped from Adjust, but he was very wise not to, because it wouldn't have killed him with PolarBearMike coming in. Take into account cats don't have as much of a health bar as they used to, so Athena dunking in will probably have killed them all anyway.
Still here is enemy, though.
This is good.
Omega being aggressed on. Dot and slow. It'll be a lot of Omega's life. It's not going to be his whole life bar, though.
Got to be a little bit careful here, because Omega wants to save for the farm. He's got a rotation coming in from Eager right now, which is important. But Omega definitely wants to go back to base soon, because the bleed is one of those things that you can't Eagles rally away from if it's already been applied.
Very smart play coming out of both teams, honestly. Omega knew how much of a target he was, so he stuck around. He didn't back immediately. And enemy, smart enough not to take the bait, because they understand that Eager is clearly going to rotate over there. Because they definitely, enemy could have killed Omega, but they would have had to invest onto the tower for it. So Omega likely would have died. Maybe if he was crafty, could have gotten away. But either way, enemy would have been punished for it.
A very cautious game. I want to say cautious, but I think it's more respectful game from both these two teams so far. For 8 minutes in, we've only really seen Ego. Oh, hang on a second.
Beads come out of Nemesis to get rid of the stun, and Khaos takes out DaretoCare as he went too aggressive, and that'll even up the kills. PolarBearMike a little bit trouble.
Kitty Cat still on him. A card needs to be applied. Don't think it's going to be enough damage to kill him, though. It's going to be close, but not close enough.
Be safe. Just barely, though.
Just barely.
PolarBearMike. Enemy did not pick New Eye, and he is very happy about
Look at this rotation now. Zapman aware of it, though. Sees Adjust. It just doesn't have much mana here, so I can see why he's going to back off. But if he can keep Zapman pinned here, and Zapman doesn't realize PainDeViande's here, Apollo could be a little bit caught out of position.
One of Bastet's, I don't want to say problems, but things you have to keep in mind while playing the character is how mana intensive she can be. When it comes to jumps to get into position, and then the way Bastet works, her passive makes follow-up abilities do more, so you want to use both. You jump in to get into position, and then you use both your declaw and your bleed. All of a sudden, you're using so much mana, so that can really be an issue and can be a hindrance when you're trying to do things in the jungle.
It also depends on what kind of build you're going for, whether you're going to go for the pounce build, where you level pounce second after the bleed, or you go for the declaw for the slow and the long-range poke. If you go for the pounce, it does consume a little bit more mana, I believe, and that's why it can cause a bit of an issue now and again.
We'll take a look at her, and you see Pounce is going to be the second ability leveled up for Adjust, so looking to get in, bleed, and then get out.
And the funny thing about when you play Bastet is you can look at the opportunity to, if you're not sure you're going to land the damage with the Pounce, you can always max your 3 instead. So if you're starting out with a max the 3 to begin with, the declaw, and then look for the Pounce later on if you're not 100% certain, because you can use that just as your escape. And you engage.
Here in the right lane, a little bit of rotation coming out from Eager, but nothing too exciting going on as far as that's concerned. Eager just opting to clear the buff.
We get to a really interesting situation, though. When I said, mid-game, we're happy, Eager gets there, they're going to allow DaretoCare to get online a little bit. DaretoCare, last kill, wasn't so effective. He got end of gank, but right-hand side, Omega under pressure again. That tether's applied, so it's going to cause a few issues.
The Pounce comes in, and the Pounce goes out. He's going to be followed up by DaretoCare. Adjust. relatively slowed. The Cats will chase DaretoCare out one more time. Khaos makes himself known, and Eager unable to pursue.
That was really cute. Lassiz tried to find the damage off onto a Just to find the kill, but juked out nicely, did adjust on that side. And once again, we can see a Just game plan. Try and focus on Mega for the most part, and let's get Salt Machine big, because that was the point I was going to raise, is Salt Machine. The longer this game goes on, he can make a real impact against this lineup that Eager have. Gets the tether off, he can shut down healing on Lassiz as well, which could cause a lot of issues for the boys of Eager.
Osiris is a multifaceted character. He brings a lot to the table. Not only, so Lord of the Afterlife will shut down healing, but if that doesn't hit, the Judgment Tether will also lower the healing.
Abduct connects with PolarBearMike, he taunts back in response, so a bit of poke onto PainDeViande. Snipe connected from Lassiz on 2 targets there, but the Harpies will go to enemy.
Enemy showed up just in numbers. They had 4 people there make that rotation to the mid Harpies.
At the same time, somebody, to be fair, Eager did as well. Lassiz going to get bled again, but he's going to be fine and just continue to sustain himself up while he recalls back to base. So for the most part, almost 11 minutes 30 into the game, we've only seen 2 kills, and the first kill was very, very good rotation from Eager. The second kill, it was more of a, personally, a sloppy play from DaretoCare, a little bit overextended, didn't have the follow-up from his team that he wanted to. I don't think he recognized the opposition was in the area. Talk about the opposition in the area, enemies in the enemy jungle.
DaretoCare just barely getting out of there, and Vetium shows up out of nowhere to take down DaretoCare. With that, enemy's going to keep pushing on the gas pedal. Khaos walking right on through, trying to find somebody, but Eager able to get out of there before any more problems show up, and enemy wind up taking the lead 2-1.
A lovely communication situation there from the boys of enemy. They wanted to go for this aggression onto the red buff. They realized that all the team could collapse, so they all did. Nobody hesitated. They all got in the right spots to cover exits, and that's why we saw the pick up onto Dare then, because his only route of escape was closed off by Vetium.
Just in the mid lane. The rest of his team on the left side doing their own invade. Zapman tries to get aggressive, but all of a sudden finds himself very low HP. And Khaos makes that a 0.
No, Khaos did not make that 0. The card was on him, but the leap in from Vetium is what made that a 0. That was important because that leap in just did enough damage to confirm the kill with the card.
We're seeing players take advantage of the high scale of that ability so much. Now DaretoCare being aggressive, and this time he'll get what he came for. Khaos goes down. DaretoCare shows up with the help of PolarBearMike to take down the mid laner.
And that was just a little bit of payback from Eager. Like, okay, you've overextended a little bit too much. You picked up a couple of kills and have one back. So that's what you're kind of looking for from the combo of DaretoCare and PolarBearMike together here. They're going to be looking for Zhong, try and delete him before PainDeViande can get that Blessing ultimate off. However, if they can get the Blessing off early, then they can reset and potentially go again, using the Athena for the big taunt, which we're seeing a lot today.
You're looking down the mid lane, defended by it just by himself. It is a little too early to really siege this tower, just go in without any minions, so Eager decides to go back into their own jungle.
We're approaching the sort of time, though, that we should start seeing the first Gold Fury contention between the two teams, because around 13 to 15 is where we see most teams in the SPL this season start to do that. If not, they're looking for towers for the most part. It's generally after these Harpies go down. Oh, that was a lovely snipe from Lassiz.
Yes, and you can tell the way those Harpies died that they go to Lassiz.
Was that blind? No, there's a ward in the pit. Okay, I was like, was that a complete blind snipe knowing they were up and just went, let's just give it a go? Because that would have been a bit too much. He even connected as well with a just. But once again, red buff is alive and well. Sorry, the red buff is not alive. I was just saying Athena in the pit there. PolarBearMike was hanging around, so I was like, oh, okay. And I thought we were going to see an enemy look to invade again.
Here comes Lassiz. Let's see if he can do the same thing. Well, his ult's going to be on cooldown. Enemy clear out the mid Harpies very fast. So Vetium here in the side lane. Just looking to clear. Doesn't want to fight 2v1.
I said this earlier on, but it's true. It's a very respectful game between the two. Neither want to give too much, but at the same time, they don't want to risk too much either. The only real play we've seen so far was the invade on that red buff from enemy, which came out on top. But right hand side,
DaretoCare. This is the play that they've been doing over and over again. DaretoCare comes out of nowhere with a slow and then double dashes in. All of a sudden, he's on the heels of the enemy with a channeling.
This should be a Gold Fury here after, because they're trying to force the rotation away. We saw the ultimate come out from PolarBearMike. The call here from enemy should be go for the Gold Fury. You can see PainDeViande on zoning duty looking for Lassiz. He may get back up from Khaos, but Zapman's here still, and there's still nobody over here just yet other than those two for Eager. Gold Fury.
Well, Well, here's the thing for Eager. They understand, look, we invested a lot into this side lane. We didn't get the kill, but they know. They read the same textbook. They understand that Gold Fury is going to be the option. So let's take a look at the players in the right lane. You notice something missing, Hinduman? It's a tier 1 tower.
Well, blue buff as well. They took both of them on that side, but what does that say to the gold standings? Well, it's still in enemy's favor because the gold, the experience was already in their favor anyway. So enemy, they still come out on top for the time being.
Sure, yes, they come up on top at 400 gold, nothing really to hang your hat on there, so Eager, I think, pretty content with trading that out.
Eagles right doesn't fire from Omega. Zapman's in the sky here, looking to potentially go on to the Adjust, who's already used his pounce there, and you can see he had to use an Aegis. Was it an Aegis? I'm not sure if it was.
DaretoCare
On
uses the ultimate onto the Khepri, but Khepri able to walk away. Salt Machine pretty low, 50% HP. Khepri ultimate used onto Khaos.
Snipe. Oh, yeah, you knew it was coming. Khaos very wise to juke out of the way then. That was very telegraphed from Lassiz. Well, in a way, it's like telegraph from Lassiz, but Khaos is the one that forced the telegraph because he ran straight. For the whole duration, he just ran. And he knew it was coming because the teammates would have communicated it.
I didn't even mean telegraph by Lassiz. I just mean that's your Khepri ulted. As soon as that ult's going to go down, you know they're going to make an attempt to kill you.
He does get out of it. Salt Machine trying to deal with 3 in the mid lane. Zapman trading off backwards and forwards. The extra protections coming out from PainDeViande there should force Eager away, which it does for the time being. So tier 1 tower stands, but it's a lot more weakened now.
PainDeViande, the only one here in the mid lane outside of Khaos, trying to defend this mid lane tower. Team Eager here in, well, jungler and support will find themselves in the jungle trying to secure these mid Harpies, and it looks like that's exactly what they'll do. Right Harpies go to Team Eager, left Harpies still have a little bit before their spawn.
There's a little bit of a problem here that I can see for Eager as well. I mentioned about DaretoCare on this Nemesis and about farm. Now at the moment he's not getting too much. Adjuster's got a 2-level lead on him.
Wow.
Granted he's died twice and he's got a kill and assist, but Nemesis is all about the mid to late game stages for the most part. You want to be able to deal a lot of damage to the tanky targets like the Zhong and burst him down. If you're too squishy because you're too low level and you don't have much itemization, then they're going to be able to survive that burst damage and come back and kill you.
Now, itemization is interesting because there's a lot of different ways you can build Nemesis. When she first came out, it was really all about chin size. And sometimes we see penetration, sometimes we see, hold that thought, 2 different fights going on.
Oh, that Omega was fantastic with the Eagles, right? Snipe didn't really connect with anyone, though. The ultimate comes on to Adjust, but now Khaos is here with the Recall Demons, and Omega gets annihilated out of the situation there. The rest of Eager scattered defensively as Derry's left to fend for himself.
Vetium here. Aegis is going to save him for a second. Him being DaretoCare as Vetium gets the second kill in the soul engagement. I gotta say, you know, Vetium has been largely hit or miss. We've seen him really perform, and then we've really seen him underperform.
Well,
but on this Ho Yi, we're seeing good things this game.
Keep it on this fight because still PainDeViande has his ultimate, as does Salt Machine. They could dive this if they want to and go aggressive, and I think that's what they're going to do here. The Abduct forces bees on Zapman, and Salt Machine, sorry, not Salt Machine, PainDeViande has to dash away as well, but they get the tower.
Powerful stuff coming out of enemy, 42,000 gold. And this is the first real lead of the game. Let's take a look at the graphs, folks. 2,000 gold, right? So it's a small lead, but it's the first real lead of the game. It's been tied. You see a little up, down, but nothing really to really rest your head on. Here, now, 2,000. That's something worth talking about.
It is now, yeah. I mean, they've got a good opportunity with the tier 1 tower being down as well. We mentioned the tower on the right going in favor of Eager here, but the map presence that the mid tower being missing has compared to a solo lane tower is a big difference. It opens the map up drastically and gives the enemy team so much more room to maneuver into and out of your jungle. And you've got to be a lot careful too because you've not got as much defensive structures to fall back to.
Right. So it just prevents what deep means. Right? When you have two towers, deep is behind their tower. Now all of a sudden, if you lose your tier 1 tower, you know, deep is a very different meaning. Gold Fury could be considered deep if you don't have any long lane towers.
Beats forced on Adjust there. He returns some damage, but the shield will block most of that, and Adjust needs to watch himself. Bled quite a bit. Omega has pushed up the right-hand side here at the same time. They're trying to pressure down this tier 1 tower to even things up a little bit, but there's only 2 of them and no minions. A little bit risky.
Exactly. Still not ready to siege just yet. Later on, expect that to change, especially with the Ra on the side of Team Eager. Omega's looking to join the party now, has made the rotation out of solo lane, so he'll meet up with the mid laners for the mid Harpies. Zapman all by himself in the left lane. Still on his side of the map, though, so nothing too scary for him. An enemy grouping up near the Gold Fury since it's about to spawn, and it will spawn right
This
now.
Gold Fury for Eager is probably the most important Gold Fury of the game. Look at the experience difference between some of the Hunters, for example, and the Junglers. This Gold Fury can't go in the way of enemy here. They need the gold boon to Eager here to continue keeping track of enemy. Even though they're behind in experience, they can bring back the gold deficit and just hold on and continue gaining this experience to catch up. They can't give it away for free.
Exactly, that's the key. Everything needs to be fought over, and as we said, I mean, there's a little bit of a lead. We're starting to get into 2,000, 3,000, closer to 2, but you still 2,000 is fightable. There's not a fight that you look at the clock and you say, oh, they're 2,000 gold up, we got to give this up. That's when you start reaching 10,000, right?
That's true.
8,000, in that range. When it's this close, these you look at it and you say, all right, 2,000. Divide that by 5. That's not a lot of gold on these individuals, comparatively speaking to us. So we can take the fights. That's what Eager needs to do. They need to understand that they're still very much in this game and very much able to fight their opponent directly.
They're definitely in the game, and they definitely can fight their opponents directly, and they've got the skill to as well, is the big thing.
Yeah.
But when you look at the picks overall, the only early game pick that you can really see on the side of enemy is that Bastet. Now, the Bastet, we said, it's got 100% scaling. If he builds correctly, can still deal good damage. The split push option's available, especially if he's going to go for Brawler's Beat Stick, which he has done there, is a good opportunity to put some extra penetration on, plus reduce healing down as well. But what that means is that enemies, the longer this game goes on, their team fight comp is disgusting because you're not fighting 5v5 when there's a Khepri on the team. You're fighting a 6v5 guaranteed.
That's true. Khepri can bring someone pretty much back from the dead, or at least stop them from fighting for a little bit. Retribution Shield is going to be used at a Nemesis, but still
this is beautiful.
Very low.
I think Eager are going to give this up, though, because they've left Omega to split push looking for a tier 2. Nope, Omega's going to go back to base, has teleport online here. So I think
the instructions. He's going to stay in lane.
He has teleport, though, so he may still come over. Just keep an eye on how this fight breaks out. DaretoCare split from his team at the moment.
PolarBearMike's got 3 wards. At any point in time, he can drop one behind and have his solo laner rotate in. The fight started, though, before we can see an Omega. He's going to show up. Salt Machine starts things off right for enemy with a kill onto PolarBearMike. Omega does show up on the front side of things, and he's going to chase the Khepri. Khepri ult used onto PainDeViande, so that's out of the picture. Pain gets the kill onto Omega right after Zapman gets a kill for his team. It's a 2-for-1 at the moment, going the way of enemy, but Team Eager still not ready to stop until Vetium puts a mark on it, takes down DaretoCare, and Salt Machine helps Vetium find another kill for the Hunter.
Just unfortunate for Eager that engagement from Eager in the end was fantastic. Zapman coming in to secure a just kill at the same time as pop the ultimate on PainDeViande to make sure he ulted himself and forced that away. It gave Eager a great opportunity. The issue was that after that, Nemesis was on the front line, but Nemesis couldn't stand and bang against these tanky targets anymore. Got bursted, and then in the end, Zap ends up falling too. Lassiz trade to kill.
Enemy danced around the Gold Fury a little bit. They were afraid of Lassiz securing it with the ult. Instead, they leash it and they trade a member of their team. Luckily, they do take out Lassiz and his support player, so they help out in that regard, and this Gold Fury will come out, but it's not free.
It's completely free for enemy. They just came out big in that engagement, honestly. 11-4 is the scoreline now. They get the second Gold Fury. And if you look at the experience in gold right now, the acceleration is starting to begin. Eager has issues in this game now, and I'm really worried about going in the further this goes on, because enemy are looking very good.
Yeah, that's a big one. And, really the key point for me here is we have spoken recently a lot about kill participation. It's one of my personal favorite stats. I think it really shows just how impactful a player can be. And when you look at the players that we've spoken of highly with regards to that stat, they're always junglers because they're all over the map, right?
That's true.
Take a look at the bottom of the left side of the charts real quick. 5-0-6 for our Hunter Vetium. 11 kills for his team. 100% kill participation out of a character that's usually stuck in a lane. He's made the rotations to mid. He's made the rotations to every single team fight. And enemy has been surviving in large part, due to Vetium.
But some of this is down to the fact that Hou Yi is now in the meta. He's a staple of the Hunter role now. I think we're going to start seeing potential bans against him as time goes on, because he's making a big impact, and you can see that because he's done so well over in that side of the map, the aggression can continue from enemy on the other side to try and keep Omega pinned down.
It's just so much. Yeah, I mean, it's the impact. Hou-Yi brings so much in regard
And
to
he's gonna fight
team
again.
fight and 1v1. Here we go. We'll take a look at Vetium. Crits Zapman for a large amount and sends Zapman packing.
Hey, RNG helps sometimes, and he's got a little bit more crit online for him. Right inside, Tao's gonna go.
Well, it's RNG, yes, of course. The crit component of that fight, yes, definitely,
Yeah.
you know, random number generator helped out in that situation. But also, Mark of the Crow, fantastic ability when it comes to boxing. And that's really, you know, Vetium able to deal extra damage to Zapman. And at the end of the day, Hunter v Hunter,
Blink.
you got to hit your shots.
Comes in from PolarBearMike, pulling 2 in, and you can see the damage that was caused. Omega was looking for immediate use onto adjust, but with speed buff and a quick heavenly agility by the looks of it, he did manage to get out of trouble for
Zap's
now.
in the air. Zap's looking for Pain. Zap lands. Gets hit by the 2, still dealing damage. Ultimate onto PainDeViande with that immediate target switch to the jungler. Catching up to Pain. DaretoCare looking for
This
a
might
slow.
be too much. This might be
shield
too much.
is strong. Here comes Assault Machine to stop the incursion. Team Eager, 5 members deep on this right-hand side.
Zhong is here.
Meanwhile,
Zhong is here. And Adjust is here as well. They're going to go in deep here. The ghosts have already been started going out. But Eager, they're still winning this fight.
Eager's winning this fight, but they're not winning the map. Look at the left-hand side.
Oh, gosh.
Vetium gets the first Phoenix of the game all by his lonesome. Lassiz picks up a kill on the left-hand side. Vetium got what he came for. He's going to start this
They've got to do
fight.
fire. They've got to do fire. The Eager have to do fire to make this worthwhile right now. If they don't go for the fire giant here, they're probably at a huge deficit off this game because that lane has to be defended consistently, which means Omega can barely leave that lane. What a good call from enemy. I was like, I think Eager's making a mistake here, but then I was like, well, hang on, they're winning the fight still. How? Oh, it's because Vetium isn't there.
Fire Giant down to about 25% HP. Enemy shows their face. Down comes the Suns. Vetium showing himself. Fire Giant going to go the way of Team Eager. Good play by them, capitalizing off of the 5v4, understanding that they lost the Phoenix and making the right choice off of it. They're going to lose Omega here, so 4 members alive for Eager with that Fire Giant.
Well, they've got 4 members alive, but they can't really push into this team of the enemy right now. Go to the experience in gold for us, please, and we should be able to see there's still a substantial lead for enemy.
Yes.
They can't 4v5 them, so they can't take the towers and abuse the Fire Giant just yet. They've still got Fire Minions pouring down this duo lane now as well, which will be going there for the next few minutes. And they've got to wait for Omega to respawn, which is a minute of the Gold Fury, of the Fire Giant time, which is now wasted. When Omega gets back up, maybe they can get a tier 2. Well, they can get a tier 2, maybe 2 if they're lucky. But is it enough to bring them back into the game is the problem, because the Phoenix weakened on the left-hand side against someone like Bastet that can drop cats and potentially backdoor it, that's an issue.
And past that, we see you got the penetration before the Transcendence. The Transcendence is online right now, so that scaling really going to come into play.
But this was all down to, if you notice what he's got there, the beat stick is there for the reduced healing on Lassiz, as well as Divine Ruin. You can see Lassiz in trouble right now.
Cats. Lassiz forced out of the fight. Not quite dead, but definitely forced out. DaretoCare, he's going to fall. Khaos's card takes the life. It's all about dots for enemy.
And that's a Fire Giant down on him as well. DaretoCare's not going to. Zapman's trying to make something happen, but look how healthy they all are. He's not going to be able to find a kill from this. He's just going to come back and defend now.
Satellite ult out of Zapman. He looks at the field, takes a survey, and says, all right, they're all here in the middle lane. And Eager, they're going to provide a defense, not so much on this tower. They're going to throw out some abilities and see what they can do, but not invest too much. It's all about the Phoenix. They already lost their left-hand Phoenix to Vetium. We know all about that one. So Eager, very protective of their 2 remaining.
But this is a beautiful performance from enemy. I'm not going to discredit them in any way, shape, or form right now. What a fantastic way to come out. This team Eager just defeated Envy, and then enemy come against them, and they're putting on a great performance against them. It's a whole team performance too. It's not one individual standing out. Yeah, maybe Vetium, you know, involved in the majority of the kills, if not all the kills.
All of them.
But still, every single teammate here is working as a unit, and they're okay with the Gold Fury going down because they could potentially look at a Phoenix on the right.
Tower falls. Enemy right side, 5 strong. A lot of gold in hand for them, but they don't want to back just yet. Still pushing their luck. Don't forget, folks. Eager's the one with the Fire Giant, and enemy is pushing it. Blink forward by PBM, trying to make the aggression pay off. Eager trying to play defense, but playing an aggressive defense by going right in for the push. Ultimate out of Vetium will push Eager onto the right side of the Phoenix, away from those Suns. Phoenix will fall all the whole time that the team fight's going on. PainDeViande's ultimate's out. That's a big win for Eager. They're going to look for get the kills, and Omega starts things off right. Khaos is going to fall down. Still in the middle of everything is Bellona. He'll be safe and sound, but Lassiz still following up. PainDeViande a hair away from death. And a great taunt out of PolarBearMike might turn things for saltmachine,
Whoa,
but
Vetium.
instead, Vetium shows up, takes him out. Zapman, however, comes up over the top, takes out the support. Omega takes out the jungler. Vetium the only one here. He's involved in 100% of his team's kills, but now he's 100% dead. Lassiz burns him to the ground. Only one alive for enemy is saltmachine. Fire Giant's down. Where does Eager go with this win?
Nowhere. What they have to do is now push out all the lanes from the fire minions coming through. Left-hand fire minions should still be coming down for one more wave there. You can see them probably just being finished off. The Phoenix has respawned, but it's weakened. Look at the Titan. Half health. They've now got to defend the right-hand side as well.
So this is a fantastic setup by enemy here. They did so well in the minutes preceding that team fight that, sure, that was a bad team fight. Everything went wrong.
Was it, though?
But yes.
Look at the Titan's health. Was it?
Well, here's my stance, Hindu. So they got what they came for. They got the Phoenix, right? Titans at half HP. Bad fight because they lose everybody, right? Everybody dies. But they created a safety net by all of the moves they previously did. You know, they took out the Phoenix, which forced Eager to come down and take out the Fire Giant. And due to timing, they lost the fight. And there's nothing for Eager to do.
I agree, but at the same time, you're like, did they lose the fight? Well, let's take it into account. There was 3 members of the team that they were against that had Fire Giant.
Yep.
They also were tanking a Phoenix, which they got. Meanwhile, the Fire Minions in the left-hand lane also got the Titan down to half HP. And now they can respawn, spend the gold that they got from that Phoenix, and then siege ready for the Fire Giant. I don't think it was necessarily the best fight in the world for them, but under the circumstances, there was nothing that really went bad.
Sure, the team had ulterior motives, but you can ask any team. I don't think anybody wants to have a fight go 4-0.
You don't want to die in an engagement if you can help it, but if you're going to get the objective you're after, which is Phoenix, and make sure they get nothing out of it because their Fire Giant runs out, cool, let's do that. That sounds great.
Enemy's still up on top here as we approach 31.5, 14-9 on the scoreboard as far as kills are concerned, and enemy still leading despite dropping that last play by about 7,000 gold. Fire Giant just spawned. Teams are around it.
The build of enemy, right? Let's just go for the itemization because I want to see these two. There's a Pestilence online for Osiris. Salt Machine with the Pestilence, as well as we've got the Brawler's Beat Stick online for the reduction of healing as well from Adjust. And on top of that, we've also got the Divine Ruin on Zhong. Lassiz's healing is not making an impact in this game.
PBM caught out. He escaped for just a moment. But with some cats and a good slow, he might be in trouble. Omega saves the day. Gets a triple stun with Eagle's rally. And PolarBearMike will be able to walk away.
But now with that as well, you can see that enemy can start up the Fire Giant once more. Adjust and PainDeViande on zone in duty. They're going to see DaretoCare who's going to come in. They have to deal with the Scarab that's in the way first of all. They may be able to find the pick here. But look at this. Reinforcements have arrived.
Pain falls. Vetium drops the stun. Vetium starts off with just a single kill. Looking to make more. Adjust gets one. Omega answers back, but Vetium gets the second part of his double kill. Still pressing go. Adjust picks up a second one. Omega the only one alive. Who's going to claim the life of the Osiris? It's going to be Vetium.
Doesn't matter because the
3
most
kills
important
in
thing,
that last engagement, and there's nothing else.
Most
Folks,
important thing
enemy's going for the Titan.
They'll be able to get it easily as well. Below half HP, they've got minions coming down here. Phoenix still down for a little while as well. They should be able to close out this game with the 3 gods they've got available. Osiris will happily tank this one up for his team. And enemy coming out very strong against Eager.
Enemy just looking out of control. Out of control, honestly. And this is one of the best performances we've seen from them all year.
I don't want to say all year because at the start of the split, it looked this strong from them.
Sure.
And they find it again. My biggest worry is how dangerous it is to be a North American team coming to land now. Because it looks like anybody can beat anybody right this minute.
I mean, it's just so much up in the air in this game. I mean, it started off in Eager's favor. Lassiz got the first blood and started things rolling here, and
this was absolute max range too. There's a good rotation, abusing the fact of the early game pressure that a Raw can put out with the rotation from Nemesis as well. It's a shame that kill. I would have liked to have seen that kill go to DaretoCare, but that's like when you look back at the whole game and you're like, if Dare would have got that early kill, he probably would have been able to snowball that a little bit harder for himself in the jungle, be a bit more of an impact.
I like to see flashy plays like that. Good for you, Lassiz.
Cool.
That said, player of the game going to be Vetium. He came out on top of things, 9-1-9 on the Ho Yi, and Man, I mean, this, I don't think, a lot of times there's a conversation. I don't think this was a conversation. This was the Vetium show for the entirety of the game.
Now, I'm going to say one thing here at the moment. We can see a lot of Ho-Yis. I don't think we're going to see many more Ho-Yis going into the next couple weeks, because I think this one might start hitting the Bannerino list.
Yeah?
And yeah, because every single game we've seen so far today, the Ho-Yi's made an impact. Every single game.
I mean, the way he impacts the game is really, you have two things, and Vetium really milked out both of these two things. We saw the 1v1 potential as he sent Zapman packing quite a few times. Not going to wind up here because they didn't result in kills, but we saw the 1v1 situations coming out from Vetium. We saw the team fight implications of the Ricochet, and of course, the Suns. I mean, it does two things, right? One, it forces the enemy off into the opposite direction. So it's area denial.
That's
and
right.
then at the same time, if your team can corral the opponent, it just winds up wiping out people. Late game, you start getting hit by 2-3 shots of those Suns, you're just toast.
Can you pick gods on Alpha Draft? Is that allowed? Because I just pick Ho-Yi every game right now. Like,
You can't
it's
pick gods. You can pick players, though. Let's take a look at our top performers as far as Alpha Draft's concerned. And yeah, no surprise to me. It's Vetium up on top with Salt Machine close behind. A lot of impact by that Osiris.
That was a really big teamwork game from the boys of Enemy there, because the biggest thing for me was the fact they all built anti-healing to deal with Lassiz, so he wasn't making as much of an impact in the engagements, wasn't able to sustain the team up in any single way,
Yeah.
and just keep the pressure on. It was just really good communication.